Hello guys and gals, it's Solfax here and you're watching another War Thunder video, and in this one we're going to be testing out one of the newly updated aircraft, the Ju-87G2. It got a flight model change, so let's see if this thing is actually any good. So I'm here taking off and I already popped my flaps, something that I usually do in the Ju-87, but little did I know that the flaps actually work this time. So when it starts pulling up, I was not ready and I was still giving the left aileron to counter the engine torque, and I just straight out go and crash into the ground like a complete noob that has never played simulator battles before. But anyhow, this is the start of my video, so let's move on to the second clip. I was actually planning on doing something very different for this video. I had a lot of replays saved up that people saved me that I couldn't actually make into sole videos because some of them were very short and had just one interesting moment in them. So I decided to take all the replays that I had received and put them into one huge video where I just showcase all the people who sent me those replays. And with this way I want to say thank you all for being so great and sending me those replays, but I really gotta say that I'm sorry, because whenever Gaijin decides to update this game, all the replays from the previous version get broken and I can't use them. Now that wouldn't be a big of a problem if Gaijin actually given me a heads up, or any of us a heads up, like 1 day heads up, so I can record all the replays. But since that didn't happen, I again lost all the replays that you guys sent me. So yeah, to all of you who sent me replays, I'm very sorry, but I won't be able to make them into videos. So because of that, I had to kind of improvise. Then I saw that the new update dropped, both the thermodynamics update and the flight model update for some aircraft. Of course, some aircraft got their battle rating adjusted, which is quite a positive thing, because again, in air simulator battles and in ground simulator, and well, actually in ground and air battles, we have 8.0 battle rating again. Yay! That's actually very good. Anyhow, I saw that one of the airplanes that was updated was the Ju-87 series, or more precisely, I think it was the D5 and the G1 and 2. And because those airplanes used to suck extremely, I decided to hop in them and to maybe see if I can actually make them work this time. Now, the biggest problem with the Ju-87 of the past was that, well, the first few Ju-87s, the B1, the R2 and the D3 were actually pretty good, and that's because they didn't have that imbalance in the wings from the added cannons. So the D5 adds the 220mm MG151 cannons, and the G series adds the two BK37mm cannons on the wings in the gun pods. And since the Ju-87 series was designed to be, and I quote, a simple but sturdy dive bomber, it was not designed with the added weight of the cannons and the wings, and for that reason the D5 and the G1 and 2 perform so much more worse than the earlier versions of the Ju-87. Or that is at least what I think is going on in this game, because in real life, the later versions of the D5 performed even better than the earlier versions, well, I said D5, excuse me, of the Ju-87. The later versions performed better than the early versions of the Ju-87 because the whole fuselage and the wings and the engine, everything was redesigned. Because the Ju-87, when it came out, it was already an outdated aircraft and it couldn't compete with other fighter aircraft or even some dive bombers that were at that point in time. What I'm trying to say very confusedly is that even though the Ju-87s weren't the best aircrafts at their times, they really weren't very good aircrafts when compared to fighters. They couldn't hold their own against fighters like the Yak and like the Spitfires, but they could hold their own and fight against other dive bombers and light bombers, which was not the case in this game. And well, did any of that change? Well, a few things did change in the flight models of the Ju-87s. 1, 2, 3, and well, first and foremost, I gotta say that the whole flight model of the Ju-87 series feels a lot better since this update. Before this update, especially the D5 and the G2 had a very great tendency of actually flipping over to the left side towards their engine torque when trying to pull out of steep dives, which is something that is just so ludicrous because this plane is still, in essence, even though it was redesigned to be an attacker, this plane is still kind of a dive bomber and it should fly as a dive bomber. And when you see that the plane flips over in a 45 degrees dive going 400 kilometers an hour, it's just mind-boggling to me. Anyhow, other than that, the plane seems to have a better low-altitude performance. It seems to not lose so much energy when it's at low altitude. And yes, I did just get taken out by a shot from a T-34-57. And that was not a machine gun shot, that was a cannon shot. Yep, look at the smug bastard, how smug he is. But anyhow, like I was saying, the plane has a lot better tendencies, again, such a bad word, a lot better handling at low altitude than it used to have before. But we'll talk about that just a little bit later. Let's just focus first on this second clip. Actually, this is the third clip. Anyhow, focus on this clip. So this is Eastern Europe, and I'm flying in the G2 again. This is a combined battles match, so I want to actually try and take out some ground targets this match, because in the few matches that I played before, I couldn't engage the ground targets before, because when I tried to engage them, there was always a fighter or another attacker on my 6, so I needed to engage them, because when there's somebody on your 6, you can't just go ahead and ignore them and try to engage ground targets, because you're going to get taken out. Anyhow, there's a lot of aircrafts already in the air, both friendly and enemy, and I was thinking that I could try and use that confusion while they're dogfighting to sneak around and maybe attack some ground targets. So the B point is being capped by the enemy. That is that point over to my right, underneath my right wing. But as I look towards it, I can't see anybody. And here you will see that if you've anything familiar with the Ju-87s and how they fly, that there has been some improvement upon the flight model and the energy retention of this aircraft, because previously, if you do a very slow turn like this, you would lose a lot of energy. And here I did lose a lot of energy, but I did gain a lot of altitude, which is something this plane didn't do previously very well. It wasn't a very good climber, and since dispatch, it can actually climb those 8 meters per second that is advertised on the stat card. Anyhow, after a second pass of the area, I see that there's absolutely nothing here, and I look back and I see there's an aircraft that is going to my 6, so I say, like, why the hell not? That looks to be an IL-2. Since he is very slow, I can actually get on his 6, so let's see if I can actually do that. So upon further inspection, it is indeed an IL-2, and from the looks of it, because of the clipped wings, it is one of those IL-2s, I believe mod 1942, that has a gunner on the back. Now this is the situation, two 37mm cannons in the wings. First shot, I miss him, and he starts peppering me with the machine guns from the rear machine gunner. He goes into a dive and then levels out, and this gives me an opportunity to put shots into him. So I fire away, I take off his wing, he is on fire, but still, while he's falling, the gunner is managing to shoot at me and takes out my pilot. Now this is one of the things that I just can't believe with this aircraft. Let's look at this from another angle. So again, this is the same engagement from a few seconds before, and I just want to show you what happened here. So again, I'm on his 6. He starts peppering me with machine guns. He scores a few very light hits. That is 7.7mm machine guns, if I'm not wrong. So he goes down, levels up. I take aim, I fire, I take off his wings, and he is spiraling out of control and falling down, and the gunner is still able to shoot at me, and as I pull up, he's able to actually snipe my pilot through the whole freaking fuselage of the aircraft. That is just ridiculous. That is absurd. That should never be happening in this aircraft. And this is why I still think that the Ju-87, the whole series, despite the updates to the flight model, is one of the worst dive bombers currently in War Thunder. The fact that this aircraft can be taken out by just a single 7.7mm machine gun is, to me, completely absurd. Because even though this aircraft is not as well armored as the IL-2, let's say, because IL-2 is basically a flying tank with the amount of armor it has on the front of the fuselage, this thing just bursts in flame and gets taken out by any sort of contact from the enemy. And when it does get shot and doesn't get completely taken out or just blown out of the sky, it's unflyable. It's completely unflyable. When you get shot, one little shot in the wing from a 7.7mm machine gun will render this plane completely unflyable. And that is the biggest problem of the Ju-87 series. Unlike in real life, where the aircraft was very durable, it could take some punishment. In the game, just anything, literally anything can destroy this aircraft. There's nothing you can do as a pilot other than like trying to, I don't know, pull some maneuvers like attacking from above and from below, but this plane is way too slow to do that. And that is why I'm reluctant to fly this plane in any game. I just don't like flying this plane. Give me an IL-2 over a Ju-87 any day of the week. I'm probably being too harsh on this aircraft, and there's going to be a lot of people who's going to tell me in the comments that, hey, you just don't know how to fly this aircraft. Well, that might be the truth, but I know how to fly aircrafts in this game, and this aircraft just doesn't fly very well. Did Gaijin improve upon the flight model of the G1, the G2, and the D5? Yes, they did. Did that make the plane any better? Yes, but just by a little tiny incy bit, as you're going to see in this fight here. So I'm on a 6 of a Spitfire that is following a Focke-Wulf 190, and this Focke-Wulf 190 pilot is giving me all the opportunities in the world to take him down. So I take my aim, first shot misses, and I put a lot of lead into this shot, and I actually managed to connect the shot with a Spitfire, a light pilot, a light fighter aircraft, and that aircraft does not go down. And this is one of the other problems of the Ju-87 G1 and 2. The 37mm cannons that are in the wings just are not very effective against, well, anything. They don't kill ground vehicles as they're supposed to kill them, and sometimes they don't even kill the very lightly armored fighter aircrafts. And as you can see there, he just turned around, put a few shots into my wing, and I instantly go down. And because of those two things, the fact that the flight model of the Ju-87 is so, well, it's better now, but still the plane doesn't perform well. It performs probably as well as it should, but doesn't perform better than any other dive bomber in the game. And the fact that it's gonna fall apart when you just sneeze at it from a distance and the cannons are not very effective is why I think that the Ju-87 is completely useless aircraft in this game. I don't know what can be do about it. I love this aircraft. I really do like flying it sometimes. But most of the times I just get shot down and then I get depressed because, well, this aircraft is supposed to be awesome and it's actually not in the game. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name has been Solfax and I will see you next time.